a study that we worked on together. So I'm gonna talk just a little bit and set up the study, and then let Pete do most of the talking because he's much more interesting than I am. So the study was done in an inner city school in California. Excuse me, a high school, and it was an ethnographic study for over the data ranges 4 years. And the model was ethnographic and something I call participant collaboration. So what happened was I was working at this high school, and I noticed that there was a group of young men athletes who would come to tutoring every day. And some of the guys would do their work, and some of the guys would hang out and chat with each other. And I just kind of wondered why it was that some of the guys were really engaged in their academics, and they all wanted to go to college. They all were interested in playing athletics in college. And it's just something that I started talking to the guys about. And as I found out more about their stories outside of the school, I realized that the things that were going on outside of the classroom were really affecting their concentration. For example, the thing that really inspired me was a story a young man told me. And at one point I just walked up to him and I said, you're here every day, you have tutors from a university here, you want to go to college and your grades are not great. Why is it that you're here and you don't open up the book and study? And he said, my brother was just shot last month and he died and I can't focus on school. And so that day I just actually kind of walked around the room and started talking to people about and getting their stories, and I was just thinking, well, of course, he's not going to be focused on school. He's going through this trauma over and over again, losing friends and family. So Pete's story was one that really encapsulates my argument, my findings, and that is once the guys were identified as a certain type of student, as a bad boy, like Ann Ferguson would say, they really did not have a chance at this school to reinvent themselves. And some of the guys were doing fine. They were seen as academic, and they were seen as the good kids, the good students. They were going places. And I thought that this was a way that, looking at the guys who were doing well in school, what was it that they were doing that we can support? And for the guys who were not reaching their goals, well, what was going on so that they weren't reaching their goals? And the case of Pete is a really amazingly interesting one because of Pete's circumstances. Pete grew up here in New Orleans, which is why I was so excited that I was here in New Orleans. And I won't give away too much of his story, but Hurricane Katrina afforded him the opportunity to reinvent himself once he moved to California. So I thought that I would just let Pete tell his story a little bit and have more of a dialogue, since it is 8:15 on Sunday morning in New Orleans, and So Pete, why don't you just go ahead and tell everyone about your background and what it was like for you as a kid in New Orleans growing up here as a student.
Okay, I'm Pete Magnolia. Excuse me. I grew up in the Magnolia Housing Development. That's uptown from there. And growing up was real challenging. First off, I started straight A student. One day, I got into it with my best friend. My grandfather passed, and he kept saying it. And growing up, we tell you, don't say it. He did. They'll talk about it. He said, say it 10 times, and I'm gonna punch you. He said it. I punched him. I got kicked out. Unfortunately, I couldn't get back into school because my mom was working for the mayor's office, and she couldn't afford to take days off. So I had to sit out the rest of the school year.
And how old were you?
I was 3rd grade.
Oh my God.
11. And afterwards, once my mama would leave to go to work, I'd go outside and play with my remote control car because I was the only one left home. So I'd go outside, play with that. Then I started to see the neighborhood gangsters, the drug dealers out. And I was just seeing, okay, well, they out here, ain't nobody bothering them. I could be out here. So a whole different mind game changed. Now I went from a straight A student to, if I got a B on any test, I'll get mad and cry. To the next year I'm going back to school, I didn't care no more. Like, okay, well, you kicked me out knowing that I was one of the best students in the school. So after that, it just been changed throughout elementary. Everyone looked at me just, okay, you just want to pass him on. Then it got to middle school, they didn't know me. None of the teachers, unfortunately, knew me. So it started off kind of as a good thing until they found out, okay, you have an attitude problem. Then I started getting kicked out from that. And then I spent 4 years in middle school because I got kept back in 7th grade again. So, okay, it's four guys, me and three of my friends. They all call us troublemakers, but every year, exactly four of us in the same class, same everything. You would think they would separate us. They tell you, we're not gonna put y'all back in the same class next year. We go back next year, the same teacher's picking us again, now you putting us in the same desk.
So I remember your principal made a deal with you in middle school, right?
Yep.
What was the
Eighth
deal?
grade. If I pass the leap test, she'll buy us po' boy French sandwiches. and that was my 8th grade year. So in 8th grade, I had this language teacher. She didn't know me, but she knew of me. So I go into her class the first day of class. We had a dress code because it was after the shooting, the accident that happened at Carter G. Woodson Middle School. They had a shooting there. So after that, they turned it into academy. Now we have to wear Dickie uniform shirt and Dickie pants and a tie and black or white shoes. I shows up with my Dickie, my tie, and my shoes. She kicked me out. I said, why are you kicking me out? You want to be funny, you're wearing a tie. I said, this is the dress code. She said, you don't listen, you bad, you're a troublemaker. I said, well, this year I'm trying to change because I just need to graduate and get to high school. The whole year she bothered me. I sit at the table, touch my hair, get out. So she got to the point, she'll send me to the office. The principal would just let me play on the computer. She'll come and I'll be playing pinball on the computer. She'll be telling, well, why are you not sending him home? She said, we don't have a reason. You kicked him out because he wore a tie or he touched his hair. Stuff like that.
So then what happened? What were you doing when Katrina came?
Locked up. I was in jail for something I didn't do, just at the wrong place at the wrong time. One of my buddies, you know, you growing up in the ghetto, the project, the first rule, you can't snitch. So I had to take his rap for him.
But at that point, what were you doing? I mean, you weren't.
No, I wasn't doing. I was selling drugs. I started selling drugs at 11. Seen the older dudes in the neighborhood doing it. So I decided. My mom used to always fuss about she worked so hard. She ain't gonna give me all this. So she used to try to split her checks with 3 kids. So then my father wasn't really there. He was there only time just to drop off money and leave. Cause he was a big time drug dealer. So he'd just drop the money off and leave. So I had no sense of direction. Couldn't look at my older brother because he started going crazy once my grandfather passed, which was like his father. So it was like I had no role model to look up to.
And how did you learn about selling drugs?
I just watched. They used my remote control car, selling it, taking it to different places. So I watched and I learned, and I started selling drugs.
So then what happened once you moved to California?
When I moved there, it was a whole different change. The first day at school, the AD told me, if you wanna stay, you need to be like Victor Santa. So I said, okay. So he's supposed to be a good guy. So I said, okay, whatever he says. So I goes into class. First report card comes out, I have a 3.8. I never had nothing more than a 1.5 in New Orleans. Because they just give me D's just to sit there, tell me if you just don't make noise, go to sleep, we'll just give you a D so you can play basketball and we'll just pass you on. I got to California, they loved me. All the teachers loved me. I was making straight A's.
How did they treat you because you were from New Orleans in the storm?
They treated me like I was, I could say like I needed help, basically, because they figured, okay, he's from New Orleans, he needed the help, which I wasn't looking for a handout. I just wanted to just be there. I was glad to get the opportunity to move to California.
So how many years of high school did you do before you moved to California?
One year high school.
And then you went to California and got a 3.8.
Got a 3.8.
Wow. So then what happened?
Now I'm in college now. I don't have nothing to look back at. Now I try to talk to the kids, tell them, you know, wherever there's hope, there's a chance. Because I done been through a lot. Seeing multiple friends, best friends getting killed, going to jail for the rest of their life. 13 years old, getting 40 years in jail, 50 years in jail. So it's just like, man, it's crazy. Now being back home, things are still wild. And when I go to the neighborhood I grew up in, they all want to, man, go ahead, leave. So if they tell me, if you see the police car leave, you need to leave because it's just that bad. Once the police leave, somebody's going to come around there and shoot the neighborhood up. So I just feel good just to be out there, just to say, okay, I made it out. I had a bad hand, but I somehow played my cards right.
So do you think if the storm hadn't, I mean, the storm was horrible, of course, but do you think if the storm hadn't come, what would have happened to you? Because basically your record got wiped out once you went to California, right?
So I have no record. I don't know. I don't think I would be able to last in New Orleans because it's not enough positive going on. I didn't know like things that they have now, AAU basketball. I didn't know about that until I made it to high school. Like nobody was coming to talk to us, telling me, man, y'all need to get off the corners. Nobody. Like they seen us there, it was fine with them. So I think the hurricane was the best thing that ever happened to me, to a lot of people, because a lot of people got away. I don't know, I just think they're crazy to come back. Because they doing the same thing they did before the hurricane, after the hurricane. It'd just be sad to see.
So how did the teachers treat you when you were in New Orleans here? What were some of the things that they would say to you?
Called me an answer 9.
A what?
Answer 9 meaning stupid. So they used to call me that, tell me I'm a troublemaker, but they never once give me a chance. Like another instance, in 7th grade, where the teacher tells me, we're in social studies, you don't have to do any work. You and Ronnie can play on the computer, but Ronnie's the same guy. You don't want Anthony and Ronnie together. Like if he get in trouble, you hear my name get called on that account. I wouldn't even be there. Most times, he'll get suspended, and they'll suspend me just because he did it. And so we sitting there, she says, yeah, you guys be playing on the computer. So one day we playing this, she tell me, oh, I don't want you on the computer, just leave. So I said, all right, I don't need your damn computer. She tells me, call your mother and tell her what you said. So I called my mom, I said, I tell her I don't need that damn computer. You know what I'm saying? So what was the problem with that? Like, what was the big problem you say you don't need the damn computer? She asked the lady, she's just like, he's cussing. She said, damn, is not a cuss word. So, and then another instance, okay, if on Fridays you can pay $1 and wear what you want. I paid my $1, I wore some white tennis shoes with a football jersey. I showed up to class, one of the teachers, you ain't supposed to wear that. I said, I paid my $1. She said, you still supposed to have on a uniform shirt. So I said, okay. I called my mom, I said, can you bring me a uniform shirt? Because we lived right across the street from the school. Mama, bring me a uniform shirt. Now the sleeves are hanging longer than the uniform shirt because it's a football jersey. Oh, you can't wear that. My mom said, now you called me all the way from my house because he have clothes that you say if you pay $1 on Friday, he can wear. So it's just like, this is crazy. In California, I went there, I was in class with flip-flops and white beaters.
And how did the teachers and the principal treat you in California?
They treated me good, with respect, like I deserved. Like they didn't know me, they didn't know about my background. Like just like those other teachers, if they would have never heard Anthony's this, Anthony's that, they would never be able to make their decisions. But they used it off of he say, I say stuff.
So, as you can tell, the argument is, I mean, Pete is one kid, but I think he really encapsulates what I'm talking about. Some of the other guys were trying to do the same thing, reinventing themselves by becoming fathers. 2 of the other guys out of the 6. So 4 of the guys felt they needed to reinvent themselves. 2 became fathers. He and another guy from New Orleans had the same opportunity from just this amazing circumstances that were horrible, but their record and their identities got wiped clean. So my argument is that we cannot leave it up to chance. Every time a kid comes in, give them the opportunity to reinvent themselves. So that's basically it. And do we have time for questions for Pete or do the second one?
I think we'll do the second one and
Okay.
then come back.
All right, cool.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.